Hi there everyone, your Power Ralph here with another vlog. So, it's time for me to talk about anime again because I just finished watching the second season of Haikyu. So, this is gonna be that vlog where I do a recap. It's the Haikyu Season 2 recap. And of course, while I'm going over the events and my thoughts on the events of Season 2, there's gonna be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the second season of Haikyu, then don't watch this vlog because it'll spoil the events, but let's get on with it. Now, first off, I really enjoyed the season. There was a lot going on. Like, a lot happens in the season. There's a lot of character development, and it was just handled really well. Also, the first ending theme of the season, it's called Climber. It's really good. I think it's my favorite ending theme of the series so far. I don't really usually talk about like an anime series openings and endings when I do these recaps, but this one I really like, and it was actually done by the same band that did the opening for Anohana, which is a really good song. But Climber is a really good song, so it's my, yeah, I think I'm comfortable saying that it's my favorite ending of the series so far. Not to say that the others are bad or anything, but this one I just really like. Now, onto the events of the season. There's actually only like really 2 arcs that the season covers, but there's a lot that happens in both of those arcs. So first off is the Tokyo training camp arc, where Karasuno, they go to Tokyo, and the season starts off with like right after Karasuno loses at the inter-high preliminaries from the first season. Like they're just practicing and whatnot, and they find out that I think they I think this team won the inter-high tournament. It's Shiratorizawa, which is the ace of the team, is like in the top 3 in Japan when it comes to like, I think, spiking. His name is Ushijima. So in the first episode, both Hinata and Kageyama, they go to Shiratorizawa to stake out Ushijima. Actually, they end up there like on accident because like they're like running, and then Hinata and Kageyama just get really into it, and then they end up lost, and they end up in the Shiratorizawa area. So like they see Ushijima. Ushijima talks to them. He's like, huh, the team that you lost against, Alba Josai, they suck. Only Oikawa is good, and Karasuno, your team sucks too. And he's doing this all while using like farming metaphors for some reason. So Hinata's like, I'm not gonna take that, I'm gonna challenge you. So whenever we see each other in an official match, I'm gonna win. So that happens. So that the first episode kind of sets up Ushijima to be like the big like top goal that every school is like aiming to beat, and now Karasuno is like aiming to beat them as well. So I remember tweeting about this, but like it feels like they're setting Ushijima up to be like a final boss of sorts. I don't know if that's actually the case or not, because like, spoilers, he doesn't show up. Like, they don't play against him in this season. I think that's like a 3rd season thing, but no, I know it's a 3rd season thing, but anyways, after that, right before everyone goes to Tokyo, we get another practice match in between another school, and Hinata notices that his quick attack that he does with Kageyama isn't as good as it used to be, just because of how predictable it is. So he gets into a fight with Kageyama over it, because Hinata's like, I want to improve, and Kageyama's like, are my sets not good enough? And then yeah, they get into a fight. Also, there's a new character introduced. Her name is Yachi. She is going to be the manager's replacement, because the manager, her name is Shimizu. She's a 3rd year, so she's going to be graduating after she's done. So she's looking to find a new manager. So they find Yachi, and she witnesses Hinata and Kageyama fighting, which is kind of sad because like they were working really well together, and now they're fighting. And also, before like Karasuno goes to Tokyo, they have to do finals because, you know, they're in school. But this is where you find out that Kageyama, Hinata, Nishinoya and Tanaka are just stupid. Like, they're just flat out stupid. So they have to struggle, and because of this, Kageyama and Hinata, they fail one of their exams, so they have to do like a makeup exam, so they end up going to Tokyo late while everyone else is there. But in Tokyo, the reason why Karasuno goes to Tokyo is because Nekoma, the team that was one of the teams that was introduced in the first season, like they're from that area, and they're like, hey, Karasuno, you want to do some practice matches with us? There's going to be a lot of really good schools. So Karasuno was like, yes, let's do that. We can get better that way. So they're all at Tokyo, and then the training camp arc like officially starts, and it's basically the arc where I say like in retrospect, like thinking about it, like there's a lot of character development here. So I just think of like that, like, it's free real estate meme, but instead it's like it's free character development, because really everyone in Karasuno learns a lot here. Nishinoya, he starts practicing like this jump set from the back line that he saw one of the teams in Tokyo do. Then the team practices like a synchronized attack, which is really neat. And then Kageyama, he starts practicing this, I don't know what it's called, I think it's like a falling toss, because he gets the idea shortly before the Tokyo arc, like before the Tokyo training camp starts. And Hinata, before that, he learns how to spike from Coach Ukai's grandfather. Like, this is before Tokyo, so like they spend the Tokyo training camp like refining those techniques. So by the end of it, like Hinata and Kageyama, like they have this new quick attack where Kageyama does his falling toss, which I think it's supposed to make it easier for Hinata to aim when he spikes, because now he can spike without closing his eyes. Like, he can actually look. And then Hinata also learns how to do a feint. Tsukishima, he starts taking volleyball more seriously because Yamaguchi yells at him, because up until this point Tsukishima has been just volleyball is just a club. And then Yamaguchi's like, no, it's like, you should take pride in this. We also get to learn more about Tsukishima's backstory, so that was also really interesting. Like, the reason why he's just so just treating volleyball as just a club is because like his older brother in the past, he put in a lot of hard work. In the end, he wasn't a regular in the Karasuno volleyball team, and he lied about it, so Tsukishima was a bit soured on that. So that's pretty much it for the Tokyo training camp arc. There were a lot of teams that were shown there. I don't remember all of them. I remember there's a character there named Bokuto. There's a new person on Nekoma who's like a half Russian person who's super tall. And then there's some other characters, but like they all help Karasuno just get better. And even though Karasuno loses like a good majority of their practice matches, like they improve a lot throughout the season, and like the efforts of their training are shown in the next arc, which is the spring tournament thing. Spring preliminaries, I believe. So that's the next arc, which takes up a good chunk of season 2. So the spring tournament starts off with Karasuno winning their first match really, really easily. And I actually felt a little bad for the team that they went up against. I don't remember the team name, but they ended up winning. And then the second team that they fought, they also win against. And there was someone in that team that was like super, super tall. Although like this tall person wasn't really good at volleyball. Like his height made up for that a little bit. But then by the end, even though like that team loses, the tall guy like gets really into volleyball because he didn't really know how to play well before that. But if he comes back in a later season, I want to see like how well he improves. So after that, that's the first day, right? Yes, that's the first day. Then on the second day, Karasuno ends up fighting this team called, I have it here, it's, okay, so I have it right here. The team that they went up against on the second day, the first team at least, was called Jozenji. And this team, they're just a bunch of ratty people that don't really have a solid defense, and they end up losing as well. And I actually kind of like this team a little bit just because like they start trying some of the moves that Karasuno learned, like most specifically the synchronized attack. They fail doing that both times, but like the only reason they did it was because they thought it looked cool. So like, that's interesting. And then the next match that they fight it, or the next team that they fight against in the next match is the team called Wakutani, I believe. And this team was a really formidable team. They work really well together. They're very similar to Aoba Josai, and the ace of the team, like they say that he plays very similar to the Little Giant, which is a character, like he's the one that, like the Little Giant is the one that inspired Hinata to play volleyball when he was younger, because he saw one of his matches on TV. So the ace of the team, whose name I don't remember. I don't remember what that guy's name was, but he plays really, really well. Karasuno barely wins, but like this was their first like really, really big challenge. And also, in the middle of the match, the captain of Karasuno ends up getting injured because he ends up rushing towards a ball, like to receive it, and at the same time, like he ends up hitting Tanaka, and Tanaka didn't get injured, but Daichi did, and he's taken out of the match to recover. Like he has like a bruise on this side of his face, and he also ends up losing a tooth, and like his mouth starts bleeding, so that's kind of like that's bad. So in his place, one of the second years, his name is Enoshita, he ends up subbing in for him, and we get to see him like he's the one that's most likely going to be captain of the team once Daichi graduates, but we get to see him gain more confidence in himself during the match, and I really, really like that. And I hope we get to see more of him, because he was a very interesting character in that regard. Like he himself says like he's not as good as Daichi, but he's willing like to put in the effort to do the best that he can, and he makes some really, really good plays, and like just seeing him grow more confident was really, really awesome. So after Karasuno defeats Wakutani, we get to see the match between Aoba Josai and Dateko. Dateko has a new team member, but the team ends up losing to Aoba Josai, which it's a good way of building up the upcoming match between Karasuno and Aoba Josai, because Karasuno lost against Aoba Josai in the first season, so we get to see, like, the rematch is the highlight of the second season, and it was done really, really well. So there's a lot that goes on in this rematch. Just like the first time Aoba Josai and Karasuno fought, their sets are really, really close. Karasuno ends up winning the first one barely, but at the end of the first set, we're shown one of the new members of Aoba Josai. His name is Kyotani, and his nickname is Mad Dog, at least in the sub version. I don't know if it's the same in the dub version because I'm watching the sub, but he ends up being subbed in at the end of the first set, and he is a powerhouse. Like he spikes really, really hard and really, really fast, but the problem is he's not really a team player. He is quite honestly rude to a lot of the people on his team. But during the second set, like Oikawa from Aoba Josai starts like utilizing Kyotani, and he scores a lot of points. Also, at some point, I think this is in the first set, Oikawa does this really, really powerful serve that I was like freaking out about, because like he does so much power into it. The animation for it was really, really good, and like the ball touches the ground before like Oikawa lands on the ground, because it's a jump serve, and I was like, wow, he must have hit the ball really hard to make it go that fast. that was really cool. And he misses the first time, but he does it the second time in the third set, which I'll talk about later. But in the second set, a lot happens here as well, because Oikawa is using Mad Dog really, really well in the team, and just his other teammates as well. Like, they end up getting quite a lead. And this is when when Karasuno swaps to their pinch serve for Yamaguchi. And the first time Yamaguchi was subbed into a match, it was against Alba Josai in the Inter-High tournament, and he screwed up his serve, which has been it's been something that has been on Yamaguchi's mind ever since, and he's been practicing his serves. And when he does his serve here for Karasuno in the spring preliminary high against Alba Josai, it's a float serve, by the way. So, though I'm probably gonna explain this really badly, but what a float serve is like, you try to put as less of a spin as you can, and that makes like the ball really hard to receive. So he ends up actually landing his first float serve, and from there, like, that just builds up his confidence, and I'm really proud of him. Yamaguchi is like, I think he's my favorite character, because he starts off like timid and shy, and like after he lands that serve, like he ends up scoring 5 points for the team. Like, 3 of them were just from his serves alone, and then the others were from like his serves just screwing up Alba Josai, and then letting the other members of Karasuno score points. So he scores just 5 points on his own like that, and I'm like, that's incredible. And he just gets more confident as time passes, and I just really like that in anime, when there's like this shy, timid character, and as like the series progresses, he becomes more confident and more capable. A good example of this is Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Although another Yu-Gi-Oh! Example is Cyrus from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Those two are like my favorite characters in both of those series, and they have similar personalities to Yamaguchi in that they're shy and timid, and then they get more confident. Stuff like that I just really, really like. So seeing that happen to Yamaguchi was really, really cool. He's definitely my favorite character in the series right now. So even though Yamaguchi did end up getting like those 5 points and helping Karasuno catch up, he or Alba Josai ends up winning the second set, and through this also Kiyotani, he ends up learning to become a team player, because one of his teammates just yells at him, said, "Dude, that's not cool." So Alba Josai ends up winning the second set, so we go back to another third set, and the third set is where things get really, really intense, especially towards like the end of the third set. So Alba Josai and Karasuno in this third set, they're pretty much neck and neck. Like, if one scores 1 point, like immediately after, the other one will score a point, and like they're pretty much tied. And then it like lasts that way until the very end. Like, they're at a deuce at like 24-24, and before that, like, Oikawa lands like his super powerful, awesome serve that would probably tear someone's arms off, and that was really, really cool to see. I really like the way Oikawa does his serves. Like, that one was just like packed with so much power, and even like if he's doing like a normal serve, I just love the way the crowd like cheers him on as he does it. It's just really, it's like building up hype for him, which I really like, because Oikawa is an interesting character. But anyways, on to the third set. Like, when it's at 24-24, they're at a deuce, and since they're at a deuce, the first to get 2 points over, that team wins. So the plays get really, really intense from there, and eventually Karasuno is at 25 while Alba Josai is at 24. And then this last rally is just incredibly intense. I believe like Crunchyroll actually uploaded a clip of it, and pretty much like everyone on both teams like participates in it, and it ends the same way that the first match against Alba Josai ended in the Inter-High tournament. Like Kageyama does, like the animation is pretty much the same. Like Kageyama does like he does the toss to Hinata, although it's the new and improved toss that he does to him. And Hinata, he ends up spiking the ball, and it gets red. Like there's 3 blockers that jump in to block it, and then Oikawa from the back tries to block it as well. And honestly, if the ball wasn't grazed by one of the blockers, Hinata's spike probably would have been blocked by Oikawa, and the play probably would have been drastically different. But because of that, Oikawa ends up screwing up his block, and that ends up costing Alba Josai the game. So Karasuno, they win their match against Alba Josai. They win it's the semifinals actually, so they advance to the finals. And it was like with Haikyu, you get really attached to a lot of the teams, not just the main team, and I got really attached to Alba Josai just because a lot of the characters there are really interesting, especially Oikawa and his friend Iwaizumi. Like, Iwaizumi's the ace of Alba Josai, so just seeing how dejected they were after the match, and Oikawa was like, now it's tied Kageyama, because he has his rivalry with him. It's like, your team won once and my team won once, but don't think you'll win next time. So maybe at some point in the future they'll play against each other. But as for like an official match for this year, I think they're pretty much done. But it was a really, really good match. It was my favorite match in the entire series so far. So that's the end of... It's not the end of the spring tournament arc because it's still going on because there's the finals, but the second season is pretty much done. And the last episode of the season, it's Karasuno just saying, like, having a meeting. It's like, okay, your next opponent is Shiro Torizawa, and their ace Ushijima is super strong. So the second season ends with Hinata and Kageyama meeting Ushijima outside of where the tournament is being held on the day of the finals. It's like, we're gonna win, and Ushijima's like, I'm gonna win. And that just means that, like, the third season, at least, I don't know if it's gonna be all of it or most of it. I don't know how long the third season is, but a good portion of it is probably gonna be the match between Karasuno and Shiro Torizawa. So I'm really excited to see how that is, because they're playing up Ushijima to be this really, really powerful opponent. So I'm really looking forward to the third season. But yeah, that's the events of the second season. It was really, really good just seeing all the character development happening in this season and seeing all these intense matches. It was really, really fun. It's probably my favorite season so far. I don't know what the third season is going to be like, but it's probably going to be as intense, if not more, because they're playing against Ushijima, who is, like, they say he's like in the top 3 in the nation for spikers. So I'm excited to see how that ends up being. But Haikyu was really fun. And actually, to get a bit unrelated to the show, but I started watching just some real life volleyball clips on YouTube like the other night, because I was like, wow, volleyball is cool. But yeah, that's gonna be it for my recap of the events of season 2. So I'm really looking forward to starting the third season, and there's also a fourth season as well, so I'm interested to see how that goes. But thank you all so much for watching, and talk about Haikyu up to the second season in the comments if you want to, because it was really, really good. Honestly, it was such a good season. But don't spoil anything from later seasons if you are going to talk about Haikyu. But yep, that's going to be it for this vlog, so thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time for another one. Later.